Hi, it's Wasabi. Welcome back to the channel. This video is about the new Battle Pass Season 10. We're going to step through the event guide and just go over the highlights. There's a full guide which I'll put the link in, or actually both of these documents, but yeah, let's go through and see what's interesting and what has changed. Alright, so as you probably know, there's 4 seasons in 1 year from a Battle Pass perspective. This one started today with the release of version 1.20 and it runs until 30th of May. So expect additional seasons in each quarter of the year. Alright, so there's a video that you can watch, but let's have a look at the highlights. So firstly, there's 2 new vehicles and there's new rewards. There's obviously a new story, which is a desert-based one, and the 3 tanks that are called the core vehicles, with the ones that you can collect the most battle points on. Now the Rinoceronte, the Mouse, and the Udes 1516. So each of those is going to get a progressive style that you will obtain as you go through each chapter. So the seasons, you can do each chapter in order, you can do them in whatever order you want, but to get the full 3D style, you need to complete the chapter. However, you can add, or you can purchase the additional layers of each progressive style as long as you've started that particular style. So that pay to start each chapter if you if you're intending to get the style later on and pay for it. All right. Another thing that's added, which we'll find out a bit more about, is a collection. So in terms of the decals and the stickers or the styles that you can collect, and the crew members themselves will form a collection, and depending on the number of collection elements gathered, some of which might come through missions. We don't have a lot of detail on this yet, but you can get an additional 3 tokens earned through this particular season. In terms of the equipment that you can get, bounty hardening has been added. As you probably saw if you were playing the Clan Wars campaign, there's now a bond hardening, and that's now also available in the bond store. But if you don't have the bonds, there's now a bounty version of hardening, so that will give you, again, some bonuses over the standard hardening item. So that you can select from progressing through the chapters, or also use your tokens to purchase. 2 new reward vehicles, and we'll go into the cost of those in terms of tokens when we get down to that section. But there's a new German Tier 9 tank destroyer. Looks very similar in terms of concept to the Striv S1 or the Striv 103 type of thing, but it's got some particular characteristics and has got the siege mode, but we'll go into the detail of that a bit later. And then there's the BZ58-2, which is a Tier 9 premium version of the BZ line, and we'll have a look at those as we go through this one. And then of course there's the normal additional styles and crew members that you would get from the seasons. Plus, of course, access in the reward store or the in-game store that you can use your tokens for to get access to whatever crew members and styles that you didn't earn through those previous seasons. All right, so you can have a look at the styles that you can get. I'll let you go and have a look at that, but they do look nice, good 3D styles. We've got these 3 new crew members that you can earn, and there's a interactive mechanism here. You can look at the rewards that you get for each particular phase, and it's split into the base rewards that you get if you're not paying for anything, and if you want to get the improved pass, the battle pass, you get these additional rewards here. So probably just from a tokens perspective, I'll just point out that as you go through and you can see where you get the tokens, that you end up getting 4 tokens through the base rewards and an additional 3 if you get the improved rewards. So depending on how you progress through this, that will tell you how many tokens you can earn in a particular chapter. And then of course there's 3 chapters that you can progress through. So that gives you an idea of the split there. As part of the styles that you can earn through those particular chapters, there's these new 2D styles, and these can be applied to any vehicle, and they're all desert themed. So in Gamia, Rafiki, and Rojo. So they're just don't worry, they're just using tanks as models, but you can apply those to any particular vehicle, whereas the 3D styles are specific to a tank type. Then there's some decals you can get, and these go to that collection that I mentioned. So depending on, as you complete each chapter, you get one of these decals. All right, so what can you get for your points now? So here's some of the rundown here. So Kampfpanzer 3 Project 07 HK, bit of a mouthful, but you can see sort of a view of it. Looks similar to the Striv, and it's got similar mechanisms as well. There's the Cobra that was introduced in the last year's Battle Pass, the Lorraine 50T, Kunze-Panzer, all the ones that we've seen before. And in fact, all of the ones that have been released in Battle Pass over all the years are still available as the BZ58. And there we go. So you can have a look at the characteristics of each tank, and there's the view of the Kampfpanzer. This looks the most interesting, to be honest, but it also costs the most tokens. But let's see what it says about that. So it's got a siege mode that can be activated manually, like the Swedish high-tier TDs. So you get gun depression to minus 12 degrees. It's got high velocity APCR rounds as standard, and then heat rounds for high pen. And interestingly, HE rounds that have high penetration for the shell type. So this seems to be characteristic of the sort of the more modern German vehicles. So they're interesting to see how the actual details when it comes out. Low silhouette and mobility in siege mode allows you to roll back after a successful shot without switching to travel mode. So that will be a really interesting feature. You know, what's the reverse speed in siege mode like? Can you get on top of a ridge, fire down, and then back out quickly? If that's the case, this is going to be a pretty awesome thing. So it'll be interesting what balance that is. Camo going to be the same as the Strivs, or is it going to be different? We'll see, and we'll do a full review when those tanks actually, we get some samples of those tanks. All right, so yeah, here's the cost in the reward store. So you can see the BZ58-2 will take 24 tokens, same as the Cobra that was released last year, and here's the KBZ3 with 27. So you can tell, obviously, if you can only get 21 tokens through the Battle Pass, and an additional 3 through completing the collections, that's 24. So that will get you the BZ or the Cobra, but you'll have to basically get into the next season and earn tokens in that before you can get yourself the KBZ3. Then we've got the older tanks here, Lorraine 50T at 18, the Kunze-Panzer at 12, K91, and all the other ones at 9. So obviously these are the best value, and I've got to say out of this whole lot, Charfeuille 4 I'd go for first unless you really wanted one of these. It's probably the best out of the ones that are on offer. A Phase 1 also pretty good value. And then you can, in your store, you can obviously do what you've seen in the stores of previous years, use them for bounty equipment, although you can only get one particular item in the store. You can buy bonds, and you can add personal reserves, etc. So if you're not if you're actually accumulating bonds and you want to use your tokens, they will be converted to bonds, any tokens you haven't used at the end of the year. So, but you've got 4 seasons to go through to collect tokens to get these tanks, so don't panic. Yeah, a bit of a collection of the elements of the story there. So look, that's pretty much the overview. Didn't want to take too much time up with this one, but have a look at this article, and there is a full guide that you can look at more detail. And we'll just find our scroll bar, jump to the top. So we'll put the links to this document in the description as well, so you can go through and read specific details, but this gives you all bit more detail and just walk through. But anyway, good luck with Battle Pass. You'll see the same elements in terms of the point limits on tanks, that you'll be able to earn points through missions as well. You can use tier 6 vehicles and above for Battle Pass points in battles, but missions you can use any tank, so that's also useful. And of course you'll be able to use onslaught mode to get Battle Pass points as well, and you'll see them in other modes like Frontline and so on, which will also be a new version coming out this year. Anyway, good luck with that, and hopefully you get the rewards that you're looking for. With a bit of luck you like this video, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing that. We'll have more good content to follow. Thanks very much for watching.